Tickle on the tum. Tickle on the what? Look down, there's Tickle Town. And there's the River Tum. Tickle on the tum. Oh yeah, tickle on the tum.
Good morning, Ralph.
Good morning, Roland.
Good morning, Danny.
Morning,
Is
Roland.
it? What's happened to the bread? There's not much on that tray.
No, I'm sorry. I thought I'd bring you these just to get on with. You see, I am baking more this morning. And as soon as they come out of the oven, I'll let you have them. Ralph, did you hear what happened to me yesterday?
No. I think you better tell me, though, because I'll have to tell the people something when they come in and there isn't any bread.
Well, I'd already baked the rolls and the buns yesterday morning, and all that was left to do was the normal cottage loaves. But heavens above the mistakes that can happen to simple things. First of all, I'd made the bread mix on the bakery table in my great big mixing bowl, just like I do every day. I stirred and stirred it, whispering the magic words. Orange jelly and custard and cream, as usual. Suddenly I heard a tingling on the bicycle pedal. It was Winnie the postwoman. I left the bread mix on the table and went to the bakery door. As I went out to see what Winnie had brought, Capelia the cat ran in. "Hello, Mr. Crust," called Winnie. "You've got 3 letters today, all invitations by the look of them." Oh my, I do love lots of letters. I started to read one of the letters, and it must have been then that the trouble started, because while my back was turned, Capelia the cat jumped up onto the high shelf above the kitchen table and knocked over a packet of Mr. Groat, the grocer's special self-raising flour. Of course, I didn't know at the time, but it went into my bowl with the bread mix in. Normally, just a very little of it will do to make bread rise, but Capelia must have knocked the whole packet in. After I'd read my first letter, I turned back to the kitchen table to get on with my bread. Of course, I didn't notice anything was wrong. The self-raising flour was pure white, just like ordinary flour. It all looked the same to me. But it wasn't, of course. I took the bread mix out of the bowl and popped it into the oven to rise. I closed the oven door and turned back to my letters. Suddenly I heard a bumping and banging behind me. I turned round and, heavens, the oven seemed to be moving. Before my very eyes, the oven door slowly opened. I could see this huge loaf of bread filling the whole oven, and it was still growing. Sure enough, it spread and spread. In fact, Capelia the cat and I had to leave in a hurry as this growing loaf reached the doorway. I ran out of the bakery and into the road. As luck would have it, Dora was driving by in her bus. "Help, help," I called. "The bakery is being taken over by a monster loaf. Hang on, I'll go and get help." And she roared off up the road. While I was waiting for help, I started to wonder what I'd do with so much bread. I mean, you've got to have a plan, that's what I say. Then I had an idea. I had the very thing in the storeroom. Jars and jars of jam left over from last year's strawberries. I went quickly and gathered up all the jars. Just at that moment, I heard a clang, 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 and up drove Freddy the fireman on his fire engine with the Tickle school children behind. All they did was to stare at the bakery. Heavens above! "That's what I call a real cottage loaf," said Freddy. "Wait a minute," I cried. "I do believe it stopped growing." We watched and watched, but it didn't move. "Thank goodness it's run out of puff. Now's our chance," I said. "And this is what we'll do. First of all, we must pour the strawberry jam all over the loaf." So Freddy the fireman climbed his ladder, and the children passed the pots of jam up to him. Then he poured it through the windows all over the loaf. "Now, what do we do?" And they all looked at me. "We eat it, of course." eat it, shrieked the children in delight. Oh, hooray! And they started pulling off pieces of bread and jam and stuffing them into their mouths. You'd have thought they hadn't eaten for days. Suddenly, before my very eyes, the loaf began to disappear. Oh, at last it was all over, and the children lay round the bakery with grins on their faces and rubbing their big fat tummies. I couldn't eat another piece, said little Rosy Moon. Just as well, I replied, because there's nothing left. It was as if the loaf had been magicked away before you could say orange jelly and custard cream. So this morning, before I started baking, I made sure Copelia the cat was nowhere near the bakery.
It's good to know Copelia's still got a bit of life in her for an old cat, though. Anyway, how long do you think it's going to be before the new bread arrives?
Oh, about an hour. I've asked Bobby Bun to bring it in as soon as it's baked. You can't have fresher bread than that, can you?
People aren't going to like it if there isn't any bread.
Oh, except the children, of course. I wondered why none of them had been in today for any sweets. It's probably because of all that bread and jam they had yesterday. You've probably put them off sweet things for life.
Do you mean something good has come out of my accident yesterday? Now, how much bread do you want today, then?
Right, well, can we have 3 brown, 6 white, 4 wheatmeal?
Yeah.
3 chocolate Swiss rolls, a couple of dozen eclairs, and how about some donuts? Oh, and talking about donuts, have you heard this joke that came in today? What nut has no shell?
You've spoilt the joke now. It has to be a donut.
Oh, yes.
That's no way to tell a joke.
Well, why don't you show us how it should be done, Ronan, and help
Oh.
us read some of the tickle mail. Here we go.
Tickle mayo, tickle.
Here's a couple.
Thank you
There we
very much,
are.
Ronan.
A couple for you.
Yeah.
A couple for
Thank
you.
you very much.
Right, lovely.
Right, now then. Sarah Jones, Islington, London. What happens when pigs fly?
I don't know. What happens when pigs fly?
The price of bacon goes up.
I've got one here from Helen, who's in the 4th Flixton Brownie Pack. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Ivor.
Ivor who?
Have you opened the door or I'm coming through the window?
It's really good.
Oh, I dropped it. This is from Zoe Long, the same Flixton Brownie Pack. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Europe.
You're a poo.
You're up early this morning.
Fishing.
And there's one here from Graham Clark, Haslingden County School. Doctor, I feel like a strawberry.
Oh, you're in the jam, aren't you?
Ding.
And the last one here is from, oh, this is lovely, from Julie Izzard, Alexandra Park School. And Julie says, what's small, round, white and giggles?
I don't know. What is small, round, white and giggles?
A tickled onion.
Currants in the bun and the bun's in the oven, puffing up the pastry that is the baker's art. Icing on the cake and jam in the donuts, sugar on the fairy cakes and custard in the tarts. Hustle, hustle, bustle, bustle, better get his skates on. He needs the dough and the dough needs to rise. Hustle, hustle, bustle, bustle, must have put the brakes on. There's so much to do, you know the time just flies. Malt in the moat, loaf, cherries on the Christmas cake, rolling out the Swiss roll and fingers in the pie. Biscuits on the hot plate, elbows in the custard, flour blowing up his nose and crumbs in the eye. Hustle, hustle, bustle, bustle, better get his skates on. He needs the dough and the dough needs to rise. Hustle, hustle, bustle, bustle, bound to put the brakes on. There's so much to do, you know the time just flies. Mincing in the mince pies, apples in the turnovers, whipped cream and chocolate cream and lots of marzipan. Flitting round the bakery like a ballet dancer, magician with a rolling pin, that is the baker's man. And it's hustle, hustle, bustle, bustle, better get his skates on. He needs the dough and the dough needs to rise. Hustle, hustle, bustle, bustle, must have put the brakes on. There's so much to do, you know the time just flies. Brown bread, white White bread, crusty rolls and soft ones, flapping round the flapjacks, whisking up meringues. Sugar on the bath buns, piping in the icing. Magician with a rolling pin, that is the baker's man. Hustle, hustle, bustle, bustle, better get his skates on. He needs the dough and the dough needs to rise. Hustle, hustle, bustle, 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 put the brakes on. There's so much to do, you know the time just flies.